I've had some pretty wonderful jobs in my life. But among the most purely hedonistic, I would rank motoring correspondent of GQ magazine. I drove Ferraris, Maseratis, Nissans, Skylines, Protons, Sagas, you name it, I drove it. And I've spent hours in the traffic listening to the porridge-like burble and pop of the biggest and most sophisticated internal combustion engines ever made. And I've heard that burble turn into an operatic roar as I put my foot down and burned away from the lights at speeds I would not now confess to my protection officers. In that time, that great era, I only tried 2 EVs, electric vehicles, an extraordinary wheeled rabbit hutch that was so tiny you could park it sideways, and I tried the first Tesla for sale in this country, for GQ. It expired in the fast lane of the M40, I'm sad to say. I think they've got a lot better. And when a few years later, I tried as Mayor of London to get London motorists to go electric, and we put charging points around the city. I must confess that they were not then a soar-away success, and they stood forlorn, like some piece of unused outdoor gym equipment. But 10 years after that, the tipping point has come, hasn't it? And that tipping point, having been reached, the pace of change is now going to accelerate like a new Tesla. Because I can tell you, as a former motoring correspondent, EVs may not burble like sucking doves, and they may not have that rum, rum, rah, rah that you love, but they have so much torque that they move off the lights faster than a Ferrari. And so with safer streets, with great local schools, with fantastic broadband, forgive me. Forgive me. Forgive me. People will have the confidence to stay nearer the place they grew up. To see if you've been paying attention to any of my speeches in the last few. Which 3 nations have produced more than 100 tech unicorns? Correct. The United States, China, and the United Kingdom. And the wonderful thing about the more than 100 UK tech unicorns is that they are dispersed now far more evenly across the whole of the UK than the tech unicorns of some of our rival or competitor economies. And that's a fantastic thing. And Tony, yesterday I went, as we all must, to Peppa Pig World. I don't know if you've been to Peppa Pig World. Who's been to? Hands up anyone who's been to Peppa Pig World. Not enough. It's fantastic. I was a bit hazy what I would find at Peppa Pig World, but I loved it. And Peppa Pig World is very much my kind of place. It has very safe streets, discipline in schools, heavy emphasis on new mass transit systems, I notice, even if they're a bit stereotypical about Daddy Pig. But the real lesson for me, going to Peppa Pig World, and I'm surprised you haven't been there, was about the power of UK creativity. Who would have believed, Tony, that a pig that looks like a hairdryer, or possibly a sort of Picasso-like hairdryer, a pig that was rejected by the BBC, would now be exported to 180 countries with theme parks both in America and in China, as well as in the New Forest.
Maybe our membership. We've got a few questions from the audience, from our members, some pre-submitted questions, which I'll moderate, and then Prime Minister, I know you'll want to take questions from the press. Matt Boyle.
We are standing on the threshold, at the top of a new green industrial revolution, whether it's a green piste or a more difficult piste. I don't know why I'm getting this skiing metaphor. It could be difficult or it could be easy.